My name is Aimee Cruz. I am the founder and CEO of Moms on Maternity. I am mom to two amazing young boys. Hi, this is Aimee Cruz. Thanks so much for joining today. Today we have on Jenny Blackwood. She is the creator of ZenTotz. She was previously a first grade teacher for many years. Thanks, Jenny, for coming on.
And thank you for inviting me.
So what is ZenTotz?
So ZenTotz is a program for youth ages 3 through 10. And in the curriculum, we offer mindfulness, meditation, the beginning stages of meditation, kid-friendly, and also yoga flows.
So why do you think it's so important for our kids to be practicing and understanding mindfulness at this young age?
Let's see, where do I begin? So as you've probably noticed, many grown-ups in their 20s, 30s, maybe even 40s start to get interested in these topics and want to learn more about resilience and letting go and grounding. Why not teach kids when they are 4 and 5? They're able to understand these topics as long as you break it down for them in the right way. So if you present the building blocks for all of these things, once they get to be grown-ups or face a challenging time in their teen years or young adult life, then they'll have those tools in their tool belt to be able to deal with those situations better instead of slipping into any sort of depression, or if they do start to slip into those things, they might be able to breathe, for example.
And what age do you think is best to start teaching our kids about things such as letting go, resilience, and grounding?
I think preschool age, so around age 3. Before then, humans are just naturally mindful because mindfulness is being in the moment. So if, a 2-year-old in general is, based on their brain chemistry, they are just in the moment, dealing with things as it comes. So maybe somebody could argue it could even start earlier than.
And what's your approach? How does it work? How do you start teaching these important things to these younger kids?
There are so many ways. So what I usually start with as an introduction is using our 5 senses. So like I said, being in the moment is just enjoying what's happening now. So we use our 5 senses. I call them sense doors. So it's like we're opening the door to the world around us. So we look around, listen. I have many different instruments, all kinds of fun ways to do that. Sense of touch, obviously. And let's see what I'm missing. Mindful eating is a huge part of the program. The kids, that's usually their most favorite part. It ends up being. So we talk about being grateful for our food and putting great things into our body, having a good balance of treats versus vitamins and nutrients, and also eating at
it sounds like it's like pretty much teaching our kids about health and healthy habits. And that's kind of this idea of mindfulness in a way.
Yeah, and going mental health.
Mental health.
But it does, you're right, it kind of, it's body, physical too. Let's see, so all of these virtues, they've been called before too, like compassion and forgiveness, self-love. A lot of those topics our teachers try their best to weave them in during the school day, but because there's such a demand on classroom teachers to have kids ready for tests and to pass the tests or, to make sure they're all ready academically, those topics usually are pushed aside. And I know parents do their best to teach these things as well, but parents.
No, I mean, there's a ton, you're providing so much value. I mean, just background, I reached out to you because I have heard of your program, and it's something that I've wanted my boys to be in for a long time. You can never get enough of that mental health mindset type of training, and, anything that can help us grow to be, heart-centered human beings. And, we all want our kids to not have the anxiety and the fear and the depression. And, obviously it's part of life, but if there are these kind of approaches and tools.
Yeah, exactly. Certain bodies and minds are prone to certain mental, I don't want to call them illnesses, but, little, for example, I have anxiety. I suffer from anxiety, which is another reason why I got into mindfulness in the first place. And then I understood instantly how much it can help. Yoga and all these things. So why not teach it?
How much of how long is a typical kids yoga class as part of your program?
So the yoga flows usually only last 20 to 30 minutes, and there are games involved because, younger kids, depending on what their personality is, they might not be into just sitting still or even doing like a sequence a few times in a row, like we might look forward to because our days are so busy.
I think Shavasana is all of our favorites, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, so it's just, each activity is a little shorter just to deal with the attention span.
What's the most creative or kind of thought-provoking question a child's ever asked you in a class?
Well, death comes up a few times. Yeah. So we get to talk about that because they have time to share about if they're sick.
Wow. No, that's so powerful. So what's that look like? How do you talk about that?
Well, I keep it all very open. I'm never telling them what to believe or, so I sort of, that's the other great thing. There's no test at the end of ZenTotz. There's no grades given. So the kids teach me as much as I teach them. In fact, when I introduce myself to a new participant, I tell them I'm not their teacher. I'm just their guide. So they just call me Jenny. They don't call me Mrs. Blackwood.
Do you believe this is like a substitute for, I don't know, Sunday school, or do you have any thoughts on spirituality? Or
I suppose, well, I participated in Sunday school, and there was a test at the end.
Oh, okay.
Was
there? I don't remember.
I remember it was, I had to prepare for confirmation or.
Okay. Different programs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So you're right. There are some types of tests. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like studying and.
So how long would a child stay in this mindfulness program? Is it the same content over and over because it is such powerful content that it should be repeated, or is it always evolving as the child's age and the program evolves?
So I've been around officially for 3 years now. So I haven't really gotten to the point where I've had to create a new curriculum. I've had kids that have participated since the beginning, and I switch it up. As far as the art projects go, those are always different. Creativity.
That's so fun. So it's like art projects, yoga, kind of discussions on those kind of what are we calling these things, such as compassion, forgiveness, self-love?
Oh, virtues.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how do you think your background as a teacher, a first grade teacher, prepared you to create these curriculums and lead these sessions?
Well, when I was teaching, I think usually, I'm trying to think of the most kids. I think I had 33 kids one year. It would range anywhere between 25 to 30 ish first graders. So my management of different personalities and behaviors is, it's well practiced.
Cool.
You don't have to, yeah, it's just like
What have you
anything.
noticed in terms of the kids that are in your typical first grade class versus the kids that come to your ZenTotz? Is there a different type of personality, or is it really just a kid's a kid?
I'd say they're all, and I look at them, they're all just little humans, you know, they all have their little personalities. So obviously they need some direction, just like we all do every once in a while, especially depending on energy levels or what the environment is. And it's my job as their guide to gently, you know, remind them where they are. And always, I show the kids just as much respect as, and then they show me respect. It's like this mutual.
How long is each class? Or do you call it a class, a session, workshop?
Yeah, workshop, class. So right now I'm doing just 1 hour on Mondays at Indie Yoga in OP.
Cool.
And then for the camps, it'll be 2 hours, but I've done full day camps before.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you had a couple after school programs you were leading.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, when school was open. Those were just an hour.
An hour after school, cool.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, the kids get off school and parents.
And how many kids do you allow in each of your classes?
8 to 10 at the most.
And then do they all have to be around the same age?
Not really. It'll range from 3 to 10.
Okay.
Had workshops where there are 3-year-olds and also 10-year-olds, and
it works. It works. Okay, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, because they end up becoming this little community.
That's awesome.
Sometimes it just depends. Like I've done summer camps where they're all co-ed, like it's open.
Yeah, cool.
But sometimes.
But 10 and under, pretty much, and just
yeah.
You know your kid, and if they would. If they have a sibling there or something like that, it probably might help if they're younger.
Yeah, and there are a lot of siblings. Mm-hmm. So usually, like, if there's if there are 8 participants, then most of the time it's just from like 3 or 4 families because.
Cool. Well, I love the name ZenTotz. That's a great creative.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's your hope for? Yeah. What's your hope for? What's your goal? What's your hope? Where do you want to be with it in like a year or 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Well, I thought it would be so rad to eventually have a wellness center. Obviously, it wouldn't have to be very big because only 8 or so kids at a time. That was my hope.
That's so cool. Like, you must have a vision for that then. Like, you can picture it in your head what it looks like.
Yeah. So something like that. Down the road. In the meantime, when school's open, I'd love to start that back up again.
Cool. Yeah. I think that we are getting some notices that things are starting to come back, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And definitely by the fall.
And you have your own children?
No.
Okay, cool. That's great then that you get to work with all the kids. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. And I care so much about leading youth and helping them be better.
That's so cool. I know I was a camp counselor when I was in college leading youth, and it's definitely so rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What? And so you knew you wanted to be a teacher when you were younger?
Yeah, I loved being in elementary school so much, and my little.
How long did it take you to start ZenTotz after you left the elementary school?
I actually started it while I was teaching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I knew that I was very passionate about this topic of mindfulness, and so I started as an after-school program at the charter school in which I was teaching.
Okay. So some final words on mindfulness. Like, what tips do you really have? If there's one thing that you could share with us adults listening today, like how can we be more mindful as parents, but just in general?
I think it's important to remember that one can meditate at any time. It's not just, and a lot of people think that, and that's why they're like, well, how could my kid, sit still? But meditation really is just about focusing. You can meditate when you are eating cereal.
So what is it? What do you mean? What does it mean to meditate then?
Meaning focusing as much as you can on the moment.
The act of eating the cereal, of like putting my spoon into my bowl, like.
Yeah, like enjoying the taste and being grateful, just all of those all of the wonderfulness around you. Our minds, and the goal of mindfulness is to be an observer of your thoughts. So realizing that your thoughts, thinking about like a mistake you made yesterday or worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, you don't have to necessarily get tangled up into that. Mm-hmm. Instead, you can just like notice that it's there, because that's what our minds will do, is just think. They're little think machines. Notice it and let it float away. And it takes practice. So yeah, just like anything else.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm very excited for what you're doing for spring break. You want to talk about it real quick?
Sure. Yeah. So the template is it's coffee and tea in the front, but they have all kinds of art and events going on. It's owned by really cool people. It's pretty much a community center in Ocean Beach near the pier. And they have a little space I'm renting out, the last week of March into April for spring break.
Where can people find you?
ZenTotz.com, or Instagram is where I announce all of the events and things.
ZenTotz on Instagram, right?
Yeah, there's a dot in between the Zen.
Zen.Tots. Cool.
And Tots ends with a Z. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Such cool work. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Bye. So, strikes me as interesting frequency that people have sex, whether married or not. Some, married couples are doing it weekly, some maybe monthly, some twice a year, it seems like. In many cultures, it's still very common to wait to have sex until you're married. There are still arranged marriages in some countries. And I've talked to single people, single men who have gone a year or more without sex, not in a relationship, not married. And then, you'll drive around and find strip clubs on the side of the road in various communities. So it's all very confusing. Did you know that actually in some places it's actually illegal to commit adultery? So for example, in Minnesota, if a married woman has sex with a man other than her husband, whether he's married or not, both are guilty of adultery under Minnesota law. It's a law that dates back to Minnesota's territorial days. Crazy, right? And they're not the only state. And this is an article that was just in the Minnesota Star Tribune this last year in March 2020. But it's not the only state, and I don't know if these laws are going away or if they're still there. But something that occurred to me is I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about the concept of transmutation of sexual energy. So the emotion of sex has 3 constructive potentialities. 1, the perpetuation of mankind, having babies. 2, the maintenance of health. So sex is actually a therapeutic agent, a very good therapeutic agent. And then 3, the transformation of mediocrity into genius through transmutation. Sex transmutation is simple and easily explained. It means the switching of the mind from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. So I think what it's saying is the people taking any sexual desires as I think it's natural as humans to have them and converting that energy to other creative pursuits is actually something that leads you to new ideas, new levels of thinking, and ultimately some powerful success. I think that sex complicates things. That's probably why, it's very important to be picky and make sure that you're happy before getting into a sexual relationship with somebody. And if you, even though the desires may be there, taking that energy and putting it into other pursuits until you're sure is probably the way to go. All right, thanks. Okay, for business, let's get right back to the basics. If you have an idea, something that you think about all the time, that you think you could make a living at, enjoy, and give back to society, the basics? Get the domain, find a domain that would serve the point of your company. Get the Instagram and Facebook handles. Get your email address set up, basics. From there, get your initial set of content out. What is on your website? What are the minimum tabs you need? Think about your content strategy. Are you going to be focusing on photos of your work? Are you going to focus on podcasts or YouTube videos or digital downloads of if you like to write, blogs? And then ultimately, what does a pilot look like? What does success look like? And give yourself 90 days. And, if I can get one client or if I can do one project in 90 days, like that's success. And just keep building from there.
For more, please visit www.momsofmaternity.com.